Hey there, beautiful joy seeker, and welcome back to the I Am Changing podcast. I'm your host, Kaz Humphries. I'm a change facilitator. This is episode 75, based on a recent blog titled The Cost of Ignoring Your Inner Voice. Hey, Queen, I see you there, and I know there's a quiet voice inside you that doesn't shout outwardly. It doesn't compete with the noise of responsibility, expectation, or even logic. It whispers and it's incessant. For many women, especially queenagers, those navigating midlife, menopause, or the empty nest, that whisper, which was easy to ignore whilst meeting the needs of your family, those whispers can no longer be avoided or ignored. The silence must cease and there must be expression. Queen, ignoring your inner voice comes at a cost. Your inner voice isn't always loud, but oh boy, is she persistent. That voice is not always immediate, but avoiding those words does have an accumulative effect that's not often positive. Ignoring or shoving down the voice down under the carpet and into the silent void shows up in your body as restlessness. Avoidance of your internal dialogue creates disconnection from the most intimate part of your loving self, your heart. So perhaps you have a sense that your life looks fine on the outside, but I'll bet that your life during the shift feels off on the inside. And I wonder, is there a hidden cost? As a therapist with more than 20 years' experience, I can reassure you that when you override your inner voice long enough, your nervous system begins to speak for you. This reaction is rooted in your subconscious and will activate any time you feel unsafe. The science behind the polyvagal theory explains your brain is constantly scanning for a sense of safety through a process called neuroception. And so when you suppress your truth, your nervous system can actually interpret this as a lack of safety. When your nervous system misperceives avoided life as unsafe, you may experience the following symptoms: chronic tension or inexplicable fatigue, anxiety without clear cause or trigger, emotional reactivity or numbness, or a loss of direction or even identity. This isn't you being lost. This is your body responding to misalignment between your head and your heart. So, why does this intensify in midlife? For queenagers, women in perimenopause, menopause, or transitioning into the empty nest life, the cost of ignoring your voice is amplified by the loss of estrogen. It's all about biology, people. Estrogen doesn't just regulate your ability to reproduce, it also impacts your mood, your capacity to emotionally regulate, and your ability to prioritize others with ease. Estrogen is your hormonal good girl mask. For decades, estrogen has acted like a social smoothing agent, supporting your nurturing behaviors, your external focus. However, as your estrogen declines, your tolerance for misalignment decreases. Your desire to people please diminishes. Your internal voice becomes louder, clearer, and harder to ignore. And I'm sure this is why we say fuck a lot. Queen, this isn't dysfunction. Your menopausal shift has brought you the chance to recalibrate. So, when you've become accustomed to not expressing yourself, your ability to reset becomes stifled. Your nervous system will struggle to sustain a life that isn't true. Queen, your shift story is not your limitation. It's your hormonal invitation to reinvent your power. Your past experiences have formulated a story, and your story has been filtered by your beliefs and your hormonal mask. Here is the deepest secret of your story: your truths are not fixed. As your estrogen declines, so too does the mask of perception. Your powers of reflection become amplified, and you see yourself, you see your story differently. From a neuroscience perspective, your brain is wired through neuroplasticity, meaning your thoughts, patterns, and emotional responses are subject to change. What you've repeated becomes familiar. I'll say that again. What we repeat becomes familiar. It becomes autopilot if you do it more than 2 weeks in a row. What is familiar feels true. Therefore, your story is simply a pattern of repetition. What if your estrogen mask caused you to misperceive the signals from your heart? So if your story has been, I have to hold everything together, it's too late for me to change, I need to be who others expect me to be, then your nervous system has learned to reinforce identity created by the good girl mask rather than your heart. And the menopausal shift will bring about an awareness that your story isn't your cage. It's simply your raw material to become rewired into your truth of who you really are. Queen, your shift is the invitation to rewrite your narrative. Transformation doesn't come from rejecting your past. Your shift gives you the skill of reflection to reinterpret your story. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? I want you to become curious and ask yourself, what did this shape in me? Take a breath and allow that curiosity to observe your stories. The shift brings about a timing of reflective discernment of where you've prioritized yourself or where your advocacy for others overtook your needs. This isn't failure, Queen. It's your resilience that's carried you through those moments. The newfound recalibration of your truth is more than awareness. It's a deeper activation of your ability to discern your intuitive signals. And this is where your strength and power lie, your connection to your inner voice. What feels like menopausal shift side effects are actually your assets on display. You're simply sweating off the dross and allowing the queen to shine. So here's 5 practical mindset and energetic tools to help you do this. Learning how to lower your mask and reflection on your story can feel incredibly foreign and often uncomfortable. So let's install some safety into your practice before you allow your voice to really roar. Here's some real grounded actions that I've utilized myself and share with my clinical clients and audience. 1, awareness before change. Do yourself a favor, Queen, and give yourself permission to pause. Take a breath and simply notice where your inner voice speaks. More importantly, allow yourself to reflect on those moments that you override your voice. A component of permission is the recognition that the moment you override your voice is actually a moment of disconnection from your heart. Don't judge this, just observe the pattern. Because once you've identified what it is, you can do something with it. Tip number 2, regulate yourself before you rewrite your program. We're talking about a biological and psychological fact. You cannot shift anything when you're in a dysregulated state. Your priority to be able to activate change and find your voice is first to address all the discomfort of the fading mask. Remember, when you're feeling discomfort, that is signaling to your nervous system you don't feel safe. So practice supporting your nervous system through slow, conscious rebreathing. Time in stillness. Yes, I want you to get bored. Gentle movement to allow stuck emotions to flow. There's safety in your body will create flexibility in the mind. Tip number 3, thought reframing. As you practice stabilizing your nervous system, you'll naturally become more observant. When any limiting belief or negative thought arises, don't fight it. You'll just be fighting yourself. Grant yourself permission to accept arrival of the negative thoughts or feelings. Emotions are like clouds, they come and go. Part of dissolving the estrogen good girl mask is unraveling those patterns. So gift yourself a moment to expand or reframe stuff in your head and then allow it to move on. I'll give you an example. Saying to yourself, I can't change, taking a breath, bringing yourself back to the present moment and saying to yourself, that's a garbage thought. And change, whilst it feels unfamiliar, is just evidence that I'm learning. So change feels unfamiliar, but I'm learning how. This creates cognitive openness rather than resistance. It turns on our frontal lobes to go and find the solution. Tip number 4, future self-anchoring. Oh, I absolutely love this one. Queen, how do you gift yourself moments to visualize the version of you who does trust her inner voice? And I wonder what sensations you could generate when connecting and anchoring to your future self. Don't stop just with the vision of future you. Take it another step further and challenge yourself to embody the sensations that you might experience when you're using your voice, that future you. How will it feel? When you move beyond visualization into felt experience, you're literally rewiring and programming your body to feel and embody your future, so that when it's actually happening, you know for it to be true. It's strengthening your intuitive signals. Take it another step further. I wonder how that desired version of you feels to proactively make decisions and not second guess yourself. How delicious would it feel to not second guess, to not doubt, just to do and get on with stuff? Queen, I wonder if you were trusting your inner voice, what would you no longer tolerate? Sit with that, because it's a big one. When you actively connect to the positive felt sensations, you are mapping your brain towards that desired identity. Tip number 5, energetic alignment. Queen, your inner voice is not just psychological, it's energetic. You see, when you act in alignment, you're connecting with your queen, your truth, your life wisdom, your vibrational energy increases. Your intuitive clarity sharpens, your self-confidence stabilizes. Alignment to your truth creates efficiency. Misalignment generates exhaustion. To wrap up this one, ignoring your inner voice doesn't make it disappear, but it does make you feel stifled and stuck. And there will come a day when you realize the discomfort you've been avoiding is actually your guidance system trying to lead you somewhere truer. This season of life, whether you're a queenager, navigating menopause, or standing in the quiet after raising your family, this is not your ending. Your shift is an invitation to listen, to recalibrate, and to become your whole truth. Your story is not the reason you're stuck. It's the reason you are ready, beautiful. To wrap up today's session, as always, there's a bunch of inspiration on my social media pages. Simply search for me in the show notes below or hashtag ChangeChick. To grow my podcast audience, it helps me immensely. If you could hit the follow button, I'd be so, so grateful. Thank you also in advance, Queen, for sharing this podcast with your own change tribe. I hope it generates a fire of loving support and proactive discussion of how you can take charge of your journey steps, find your voice throughout life, regardless of the challenges that experience brings you. I'm your podcast host, Kaz Humphries, aka The Change Chick. And the I Am Changing podcast is a reminder we can all choose to change and bloom from within.